Okay, in today's video, what we're going to be working on is estimating multiplication. So, the estimating part is important too because that has to do with rounding, and then multiplication is just regular. So we're kind of rounding and estimating multiplication in this video today. So let's look at our first example. We have 3 times 435. So when you're trying to estimate the product, we're trying to kind of figure out an about answer. So what we kind of do with this problem is we look at rounding to the nearest whole number, kind of front-endish. So the nearest 100 in this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this 435, and I'm going to round this number actually both ways. So even though this might round to, say, 400, because I know that rounding it to 400 would work, because that 3 is 4 3s, that's closer. But they're between these two numbers. So when you have that choice between 400 and 500, this number right here is between both of these hundreds. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply 3 times 400 and 3 times 500. So we already know from previous videos that 3 times 4 is 12, and that's in the hundreds. And we move that 1 over to make that 1,200. And just like 3 times 5 is 1,500, but we just move that 1 over to make 1,500. So I can tell from just estimating multiplication that the answer to this problem is somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500. So this is what we mean by estimating multiplication. So we're just front-end rounding to the nearest 100 in this case. We're finding those two hundreds that it's between. We multiply those together, and we get an about answer. So this will help like when you do the regular multiplication, because if you know that it should be between 1,200 and 1,500, and you get 19,253, then you know this is probably not right, because it should be between these two numbers. It should be somewhere around 1,200 or 1,500, somewhere right in there will be your correct answer. So you can tell by just looking at this answer, if you got it, that it would be wrong. Okay, so let's try the next example. This next example does exactly the same thing. We're rounding to the nearest 100 because that's the highest number place. And we can tell that this 279 is somewhere between 300, sorry, I should say 200. Let me just move that real quick. I always like to put the small number on top. Between 200 and 300. Now I know that when I round this, it's closer to 300, so my answer might be a little closer to this one than this one. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to take that 7 and multiply it by 200. We're going to take this 7 and multiply it by 300. Remember what I said before in previous videos, 7 times 2 is 14 hundreds, and that 1 is in the thousands place. And this one is 7 times 3 in the hundreds place. We know that's 21. Oops, that's not correct, Mr. Chandler. That doesn't make any sense. Let's try again. That is 21 with 2 zeros. 2,100. So we know the answer is somewhere between these two. So that is estimating multiplication and knowing where the answer should be, because it should be right in here between these two numbers. Okay, good job.